Hello everyone, my name is Kurosh Paran. Today I would like to talk about solving a problem with regression, multiple linear regression with dummy variable. Are you ready for this example? Please continue. So at the first, what is the problem statement for students? Problem. Company, for example, X has collected monthly demand data from 2021 to 2024 and wants to identify the key drivers of product demand. Management suspects that demand may be influenced by number one, the overall economy GDP, the average monthly temperature is which is called weather, and finally we have the holiday season. So for this analysis and for this problem, the company defines holiday season as the months of November and December. These 2 months are treated as one category and are compared with all other months. What happened again? November and December, we have 2 months are treated as one category and one compared with all other months. Your task, students, please pay attention. Your task is to build and interpret a multiple linear regression model to determine which factors significantly influence monthly product demand and to explain the result in business terms. So I have a question. What is the research question? The research question is, what were the drivers of monthly product demand for company X from 2021 to 2024? After this objective, to build and interpret a multiple linear regression model that explains monthly product demand using GDP, weather, and a holiday season dummy variable. So what happened? GDP x1 is the first independent variable, weather is x2, the second independent variable or input, and a holiday season, and it is important to note that holiday season is x3, but this is dummy variable because holiday season is not numerical data, is categorical data. Hypothesis: the company expect so in hypothesis the company expects GDP to have a positive effect on demand, weather to have a positive effect on demand, and holiday season to have a positive effect on demand. So again, research question: what were the key drivers of monthly product demand from 2021 to 2024? And we want to predict the formula and multiple linear regression. And the objectives, again, build and interpret a multiple linear regression. We want to find a multiple linear regression to explain monthly product. And I mentioned about the expected hypothesis about the positive effective for GDP, positive effective again for weather, and the other things is positive effect for holiday season. So this is data set. You can see column A, B, C, D. At the first, in data dictionary, I want to talk about the data set and you understand what is the data set, and I would like to talk about attributes or fields in this data set. At the first, you can see months. The name of in the column A, months, the starting date of each month in the data set, and you can see, for example, the 1st of January 2021. And the other thing is monthly product demand. the total monthly demand or sales amount for the product. And it is important to note that I mentioned this is the dependent variable. Again, monthly product demand is dependent variable, and it is important to note that it is numerical and continuous. The other thing, column C or field C or attribute C, is GDP. GDP is gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. GDP used as an indicator of the overall economic condition. And it is important to note that GDP is, in this case, is X1 and numerical and continuous. The other thing is about the weather and the average monthly temperature, and it's clear whether this column is independent variable and the value of this column are numerical and continuous. The other variable is very clear, is holiday season, and I mentioned about the assumption in this problem. Dummy variable and is dummy variable indicating whether the months belong to the holiday season. And it means that it takes value 1 for November and December and 0 for all of the months. What happened for this part at the first for observation? Holiday season and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and for November and December is 1 and 1. What happened? You can see holiday season is independent variable, but the difference between holiday season and weather and GDP is about the holiday season is dummy variable, and you can see 0 or 1. When we use 0 or 1 is categorical, but weather and GDP are independent variables but numerical and continuous, and this is the difference between this. And one of the most important vision and task in this example is to understand how to use independent variables such as dummy variable or categorical variable for running regression. So I copy and paste, Control C, Control V, Control V, and Control V. You can see I complete this column and we have 49. Is it clear? From 1 to 49, and please pay attention. The first row is text and header. So what is the question? I mentioned specify the question or research question. We want to find a multiple linear regression, and we have the monthly demand from the 1st of January, from the 1st of January 2021 to this. Is it clear? So we want to use regression, and for regression, using regression, at the first go to data analysis. If you don't have data analysis, go to File, select Options, hit Add-ins. We want to use this package, Analysis Tool Pack. And after selecting Analysis Tool Pack, go to this part, select Analysis Tool Pack and OK. And after this, go to Data, Data Analysis. Is it clear? Again, for understanding and for sure, Data, Section Analysis, go to Data Analysis. In this page, please try to find, scroll down, and please try to find regression, and after regression, okay. So at now you are ready, and your computer is ready for calculating regression. So in this part, you can see this toolbox help you work with regression and using regression. So this part input y range, input x range. It means that y is output, x is inputs or independent variables, and this is dependent variable. So if you remember, I mentioned number B, monthly product demand, dependent variable, GDP, weather, and holiday season are independent variables. So column B is dependent variable, dollar, B, dollar. I start from 1, column, dollar, B, dollar, and if you remember, I mentioned the last record is 49. So this is about the dependent variable. So at now, independent variable, dollar, you can see from C, GDP, gross domestic product, weather, and so on. Dollar, C, dollar, 1, column, dollar, C, D, E. What is the last is 49. So I mentioned that the first is, you can see the first row is label and header and text, because we start from 1, because we want to see the label in output, we use labels. Tick labels is very important because you start from 1 again. You start from 1, you need to use labels, and the other things is important, the output. For example, the name of output is result. Result for me. Is it clear? Okay. So this is the output and result, and you need to interpret this. And as now I would like to talk about the how to interpret professionally, and you are business analyst, and it's very important for business analysts how to interpret this table. For interpretation this table, you need to check R square and adjust R square, significance F, and p-value for GDP, weather, and holiday season, and the value of this. And I will explain step by step. So at the first, we want to check R square and adjust R square. And I have a question. This is linear regression or multiple linear regression, this problem? It's very clear, it's multiple linear regression. Why? Because we have 3 independent variables. More than 1 independent variable, we say that multiple linear regression. So in multiple linear regression, we check adjust R square. And generally, adjust R square, and R square is a value between 0 and 1. Adjust R square or R square, a value between 0 and 1. And adjusted R square value of near to 0 or 0 indicates that the model has no ability to explain the dependent or outcome variable. And for example, an adjust R square near to 1, the value of 1 indicated, the model has perfect ability to explain to depend or outcome variable. So in this case, you can see the adjust R square is 0.7807800592 and is near to 1, and this model is good model and ability to explain the dependent variable. Again, the adjust R square, the value is 0.781, represents that the model provides reasonably high ability to explain monthly product demand. Next indicator is checking significance F. Significant F comes from F test, and you can see 3.64 times 10 power minus 15. If you remember, I mentioned in previous video, E is it means that 10, and you can see again 3.64 times or multiply 10 power minus 50. So significance in this case, p value, we check with alpha, and alpha we consider 0.05. So I have a question. In significance F, p value is less than alpha or no? In this case, for checking significance F, the regression performed better at predicting product demand than a prediction made by random chance. Again, significance F, it means that in this example, the regression performed better at predicting product demand than a prediction made by random chance. So what happened in this case? Significance F, p value is less than alpha, and in this case hypothesis, we have the coefficient of GDP and or weather or holiday or all of this variable are not 0, and it means that the regression performed better than a prediction made by random chance, or y equal b, b is intercept. The next thing is very important, checking the GDP, weather and holiday season are good variables or no. R square and adjust R square are for understanding good model or bad model and how to interpret the model, but GDP, weather and holiday season are indicator for, we need to check in these indicators for good variables or bad variables. So in this case, you can see the p-value for GDP 10 power minus 13 is less than 0.05, 10 power minus 0.5 2.78 times 10 power minus 5 is less than alpha, 9.1 times 10 power minus 5 is less than alpha, alpha is 0.5. It means that are good variables. Again, are good variables. GDP, gross domestic product, weather and holiday season help to predict product demand and are good variables. So the other thing is important and you need to understand is the T state, this is T state, is greater than 2. You can see 1, 2, 3 are greater than 2 for each of the independent variables, suggesting these three factors have a positive statistical relationship in explaining and predicting product demand. What happened again? Three factors have a positive statistical relationship in explaining and predicting product demand. And how about the formula? The coefficient of GDP is this, coefficient weather this, and coefficient holiday exactly this. And this is intercept and B. So what is the, I mentioned this is multiple linear regression. What is the final formula? You can see 2.16, only I use 2 decimal, times GDP is the coefficient, the first coefficient. This is next coefficient for weather 0.20, and the coefficient for holiday season, I mentioned only abbreviation HS, 7.51, and the intercept is, please pay attention, this is negative, minus 123.75. So you can see GDP, weather, holiday season, and about the intercept, and you can calculate, and this is the formula for multiple linear regression. For example, if you ask me GDP is 100, for example, 0.65, I mentioned put GDP in this part. And for example, I ask you, or you ask me, weather is 73, and I mentioned put 73 in this part. And I ask you, this is about the which months, and you mentioned, for example, is the January. January HS is 0, and we calculate the Y, and we want to predict monthly product demand. Another example, for example, you mention monthly product demand is 114, put in this part GDP, GDP is 102, for example, put in this part. Weather is, for example, 65, put in this part. And this is about the November, because this is November. In November, the holiday is, the value of holiday is 1, and put 1 in this part. And we have the intercept, and we can calculate, and we can predict this. So this example, in finally, and we want to summarize, I tried to solve a problem with multiple linear regression, but in this problem I used dummy variable such as holiday season, and you understood how to use this. And after this I use and predict Y. This is one example of predictive analytics, linear regression, especially multiple linear regression, because we have 3 independent variables, and we learn how to use dummy variables. See you in next video. Bye.